bring up the next person coming up on the stage. Please put your hands together for Jeffrey Wilson. Keep clapping.
Thought I'd stop by tonight and take a break from the corporate world. Intimate crowd tonight, that's cool. I plan to experiment a little bit anyway. I've been doing these open mics here at the Caravan for about a year, and it's gone pretty well. But honestly, the thing that I like the most and that impresses me the most in comedy is the comics that can do crowd work. And it's just magical and it's fascinating. And I don't really know how they do it, and I don't think I'm there yet, but I wanted to experiment a little bit and stick my toe in. So I thought we'd do a little audience participation game tonight. And I'm going to tell two stories. And one story is completely true. And one story is kind of true. So then at the end, we'll see which one that you think is which. Okay, the first story from the corporate world in my job, I guess you would call my job medical consulting. And long story short, spare you the details, spare you the coma. Most days, I meet with patients for their doctor appointments. So I spend a lot of time in medical waiting rooms. And a couple weeks ago, I was in the waiting room up at OrthoIndy in Greenwood, Indiana, a large orthopedic surgery practice. And I was sitting kind of near the door where the staff would come out and call the patient back for their exam. And one by one they came out and they would call the patient's name. And then the patient, they would say, well, what are you here to see the doctor for today? And the people would say, you know, like my elbow or my thumb or my neck or whatever it was. And this went on for a bit. Then they called up a patient, and it was a little boy, and he came up there with his mom, and he was about 3 years old. And they kind of bent down and they said, what are you here to see the doctor for today? And the little boy said, head, shoulders, knees, and toes, knees and toes. Head, shoulders, knees, and toes, knees and toes. Eyes and ears, mouth and nose. Head, shoulders, knees, and toes, knees and toes. Okay. Note to self, they were not planning to hear that from a 60-year-old man tonight. Okay. Second story. The second story took place in Africa, and my son and I visited there a few years ago, and we got to visit the island of Zanzibar. And it's a small island off the coast of Tanzania in the Indian Ocean, and it's certainly the most exotic place I've ever been. And they have great beaches, and we spent a lot of time on the beach. And little trivia note, that's where Freddie Mercury grew up, so we got to see Freddie Mercury's boyhood home, which was pretty cool. But the best thing that we did in Zanzibar, we got to visit a place called Cheetah's Rock. And Cheetah's Rock, I guess you could say it's a wildlife sanctuary, but on steroids. And it had been established, and it was run by this woman from Germany, who had an astounding rack, by the way. Real, fake, didn't know, didn't care. And what she did was she took in all these exotic animals from like shitty zoos and shitty oil sheiks that didn't really want to take care of animals. And she had stuff there like lions and tigers and a cheetah, of course, and a giraffe and hyenas. And it was fucking amazing. We got to touch and feed and hold the animals. We got to feed a lion right out of our hand. And you know how people talk about being in the moment? I tell you what, I have never been in the moment, no kidding, like when I had my hand on a big-ass tiger with absolutely nothing in between us. It was mind-blowing. But one thing they had at Cheetah's Rock, which was really cool, they had a lemur enclosure. And you know, like the lemurs in the movie Madagascar? And they were a lot of fun, and we got to hold them, and they would jump from shoulder to shoulder, and we got to feed them, and it was really cool. But in the lemur enclosure, there was a big group of crows. And I've heard that a group of crows is called a murder of crows. And let me tell you what, we wanted to fucking murder those crows because they were a pain in the ass. And they were stealing the food and dive bombing people and making noise and just being dicks. And somebody in the tour group asked the guide, they said, do those crows, do they belong in here? Are they supposed to be here? And the kid said, no, they're not supposed to be here. They just got in here and we can't get rid of them. And I said, well, I know how to get rid of them. And he said, how? And I said, well, it's simple. You just walk up to them carrying a Bible and say, hi, I'm a Jehovah's Witness. I'd like to speak with you about my Lord and Savior. Poof, they're gone. Problem solved. Okay, well, it looks like it's time to hand things back over to my favorite former Jehovah's Witness, Hillary. Thanks for coming out tonight. I appreciate you being here.
That was Jeffrey Wilson. I don't know if he was a Jehovah's Witness, but we'll figure it out. We'll test each other. We'll do a little pop quiz.